Lettuce is by far the easiest and most productive plant in the garden, but there is a way to make it even more productive and last all season long. The way to do this is with a method called cut and come again. This method allows us to cut some of the plant away to eat, but leaving a portion of the plant to continue to grow and produce more leaves. I'm going to show you exactly what plants I use this method with, how to actually do it so the plant lives on to produce more, and how I store these leafy greens for maximum storage inside the house in the fridge. Let's start with what plants are good candidates for this method of harvesting. We're going to start with these plants right here. They look like lettuce, but they are actually mustard. Mustard comes in all shapes, sizes, and flavors. Mustard has become a favorite of mine here in Florida because certain varieties are less prone to bolting or going to seed like lettuce does. When we're just going into fall or heading out of spring, lettuce bolts super fast and it tastes pretty awful when it does. But this mustard here holds off a lot longer and maintains a very mild flavor. Right here I have Tokyo Bekina. This one here has a funny name, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, Chijimisai. It's a Japanese style of mustard greens. And then this guy right here, really green and leafy, is a brown mustard that has reseeded itself every year in my garden. I'm not sure the exact name of the variety, but it's amazing. I like these so much because these guys right here remind me so much of romaine lettuce, which is my favorite. And then this one right here reminds me so much of spinach. They never have a bitter flavor, even if I pick them at the hottest part of the day, like right now. Now let's get in close and I'll show you how I harvest from these while still leaving the plant to continue to grow. This is the cut and come again method. You basically find the outer leaves and snip them off close to the base of the plant. So right here I'm pulling the 3 or 4 leaves that are in the center and I'm going to clip everything else that's there. Now all we're left with is just, it looks like 4 leaves right in the center. I've basically defoliated the plant all the way around the outer leaves. You can even see some of these longer twigs here, or these longer stems here, where I had cut this once before. This is actually my 3rd harvest from these guys. I normally do this about every 3 or 4 days. You can take as many leaves as you need or want. But you want to always remember to leave the center of the plant in place and leave at least those 3 or 4 leaves on the plant. So as you can see with this plant, I took all but those center leaves. Now let's harvest the rest of the mustard. Now we're over here with the kale. I have kale growing in a bunch of random spots in my garden, so we're going to harvest from them all today. We're going to do the same thing with the kale as we did with the mustard. We're going to take the outer leaves and leave 3 to 4 leaves in the center. Something interesting about kale when you do this is that over time, kale will start to grow taller and taller into a small bush or tree. Right now, these guys are quite young, but they will continue to grow without bolting until late spring or even longer. You can use the cut and come again method on the mustard or the kale every few days, and it should last like this all the way till summer. The mustard will probably start to flower when the daytime temperatures get above 80 degrees. Though the kale will probably not bolt at all. Mine never did last summer. The only reason I even took it down was because the heat of the summer made it bitter and the bugs really went after it. So for these two greens, you can plant it once and it produces all fall, winter, and spring as long as you are in a warmer climate like mine. Mustard and kale can handle frost, no problem, but if you get a freeze, the mustard might die off. The kale will actually handle a freeze pretty well as long as the days warm up afterwards. It might get a little freeze damage on the leaves, but other than that, it will just keep on pumping out greens. If you are a northern gardener, your kale will eventually die if you have multiple freezes, but down south here, you can keep it going for a long time, especially if you have a way to protect it during those cold spells. Now, I have been harvesting off this little guy a lot because we are in love with kale. So I can't really take a lot, but I can take these leaves. But like I said, I have many others throughout the garden that we're going to go take from as well. Next up is traditional lettuce. In this bed, I have a couple different kinds of lettuce, like buttercrunch, bib, romaine, even endive. I planted them a couple different ways, so if you want to know more about that, check out this video right here or down in the description. You have 3 different options for harvesting lettuce. You can do the traditional way, which is to wait for it to form a complete head and harvest the whole plant at the base. This method means that you would just get one big harvest from it. The second way is actually trimming the top of the lettuce off. Think of it like giving the lettuce a haircut. Leave about 2 inches of the plant in place and it will grow more lettuce from the center of the plant. When I've done this method in the past, I usually get 2, maybe 3 harvests if I'm lucky from doing it that way. When I do a high intensity planting like this one, I usually can only do the haircut trim method once. And then I treat it like loose leaf lettuce. The third way is to harvest back to the outer leaves, the cut and come again method. This is a lot easier to do when you direct seed your lettuce, like here, or transplant it because you can get a whole lot better view of the whole lettuce plant. Unlike the high intensity lettuce over here, it would be too difficult to find each and every individual lettuce plants. I'll clip just the outer leaves and leave about 4 leaves in the center to continue to grow. As you can see from my plants here, you can do this very early in their life cycle. These guys are only about 3 or 4 weeks old. That's the beauty of cut and come again. You don't have to wait for the full plant to grow. Down here in Florida, where we can get some pretty hot days even during the winter, leaving your lettuce to grow into a full head can be a gamble. It may bolt before you can harvest the full head, so I'm always starting planting them with the intention that my first and second plantings are always used as cut and come again. But as we get further into our cold season, I plant a few that I want to leave to try to make a full head. That way I'm getting a constant supply of loose leaf lettuce, but I also have a few that I'm attempting to make a nice big head with. It's the best of both worlds. Succession planting is key when it comes to lettuce. For every plant you have in the ground, you should have some going in trays or seedlings in another space in the garden to take these guys' place, because these guys don't last very long. With the cut and come again method, you can usually harvest from them about 4 or 5 times before you exhaust the plant and need to put another one in its place. Now that we have all of our salad greens, let's get them all washed up and stored. Always aim to pick your lettuce early in the morning so the heat of the day doesn't make it bitter. Next, we're going to soak the lettuce in water for 30 minutes. Sometimes I add ice cubes if it's been especially hot the last few days. Once they're done soaking, I drain the water and dry them using my salad spinner. I then lay them flat on a towel and dry any extra water from the leaves. In this next step, you can use a regular towel, but I like to use paper towels. I lay out the lettuce on the paper towel and then roll them up. When I'm done with the paper towels after I've used the lettuce, I always compost them to make me feel a little bit better about the waste. I then place them in a plastic bag and seal it up and place in the crisper drawer of my refrigerator. If you're living in a warm climate like me, what is your favorite greens to grow? Head down in the comments and leave me a note.